welcome to another episode of Woolooware High School's English Rocks, where we look at what our students are learning in the classroom at the moment. Year 11 Preliminary Standard English have been working through the poetry of the American legendary poet Robert Frost. And we've focused on two poems on previous episodes, but today's episode we are looking at his poem Out Out. Now, Out Out was inspired by a real life experience, a tragic accident on a farm that took away the life of a young farmer. So Robert Frost could easily empathise with this experience or this incident, because as a farmer himself, he knew the laborious work of everyday farm work and the exhaustion that comes with it. So the theme of Out Out is the fragility of life and death that can come from it. Okay, so just when you think everything's going swell and fine, you know, that unguarded moment, that momentary lapse of reason can take it all away. And Out Out is about that, where everything is going fine, everything's going swell, and just that moment turns everything around. And we as English teachers really enjoy when composers make intentional references to other texts to get their point across. And that's called an allusion. And Robert Frost alludes to William Shakespeare's The Tragedy of Macbeth in his title Out Out, because in the tragedy of Macbeth, the protagonist or tragic hero Macbeth has just lost his wife, Lady Macbeth, and he's reflecting on life and realizing how fragile life is, and he sort of says, out, out, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So you can see there's almost a sense of futility in Out Out, as we will see, because it's futile for Macbeth. But no more of Macbeth, let's move on to the poem. I'm not going to read the whole poem out to you. I'm only going to look at three sections. The pre-accident stage of the poem, the accident itself, and then the aftermath of the accident. So let's get stuck into it. Out Out by Robert Frost. There is a lot happening in the first section of the poem because the boy is working away with a buzzsaw. There's so much going on. Frost personifies, uses repetition and onomatopoeia of the buzzsaw with the snarled and rattled to highlight the continuous work being done. And nothing else is happening, and the sibilance of sweet scented stuff vividly captures the fresh smell of cut wood. Though I must say the harsh tone of the word snarled foreshadows something will occur. It is as though the buzzsaw is angry at the boy continuously using it and working it hard. And the reflective tone of call it a day, I wish they might have said that, reinforces the sense of foreshadowing. If only it was called a day. Notice how Frost is using suspense to draw his readers into the poem. What is going to happen? We finally get to know who is using the buzzsaw, and the repetition of the word boy highlights a child doing a man's job. He is just a boy and would have strongly desired an early mark, as all children would. In this second section, everything dramatically changes, and very quickly. The boy's sister's simple call for supper triggers a sequence of events. The buzzsaw remains personified and alive and leaps out of the boy's hand, as if it had a mind of its own, as if to prove saws knew what supper meant. The momentary lapse of reason or unguarded moment is here, as the buzzsaw and hand meet. And Frost vividly captures that dreadful moment in the truncated sentence and exclamation, but the hand. Everything after this point draws enormous sympathy in us readers, with the emotive word rueful laughter, capturing it is just too late. And the boy may be momentarily in denial, half in appeal and half as to keep the life from spilling. But there is again the repetition of boy when he realizes the dreadful reality in his loss of childhood innocence. And Frost uses repetition in the boy's saying, don't let him, to capture his desperation in trying to hold on to his hand and the innocence that is already gone. How can a 2-word sentence so be so powerful, abrupt and absolute? So the hand and childhood have unfortunately gone. Yes, we just experienced the shock of the accident, but this next section is heartbreaking as the doctor tends to the boy and the boy's life surprisingly drifts away. Look at how Frost uses Caesura, these pauses and dashes to highlight the shock of what is happening, and then, and how gradual or quickly, depending on how you interpret it, little, less, nothing, to depict life fading away. The short truncated sentence, no one believed, reinforces this unexpectedness of how a young body could lose life. And there is a strong sense of futility with another truncated sentence, no more to build on there. What a waste of a young life. No growing up, no dreams, no future. But the final disappointment comes in the final sentence, as everyone goes on with life. That's it. The punctuation of the commas around, since they were not dead. The repetition and the enjambment of they immediately disconnects everyone from the dead body because life goes on for them. It is cruel, harsh, and tough being a farmer. And it's as if this kind of tough, cruel, and harsh lifestyle has sapped them of any care of life. What a poem. Frost looks at this grand, this significant theme of the fragility of life through an everyday farming accident. Just when you think that everything is going fine, that split second where there's an unguarded moment or a momentary lapse of reason, justified by exhaustion, tiredness after a whole days of laborious farm work, and it's all gone. Life slips away. And we've got to return back to the tragedy of Macbeth, because that is what Macbeth is saying about his wife's passing. There would have been a time to mourn for her passing, but it happened too early. And this young boy in the poem Out Out has lost his life also. He's gone too early. So yes, something really, really significant there. It looks like a very simple poem, but there's a grander message. Okay, I hope I've helped you understand that, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Thank you very much.